When two legends of horror, Stephen King and John Carpenter, joined forces in the early 1980s, expectations were sky-high. King was already cementing his place as a master of the macabre with Carrie, Salem's Lot, and The Shining, while Carpenter had terrified audiences with Halloween and The Thing. Their lone collaboration, Christine 1983, adapted from King's novel of the same name, remains one of the most fascinating and underrated horror films of the decade. Released only days after King's book hit shelves, Christine tells the story of Arnie Cunningham, a socially awkward teen who becomes dangerously obsessed with his vintage red Plymouth Fury. Under Carpenter's precise direction and King's twisted premise, the car itself becomes a living, jealous entity, one that kills anyone who threatens its bond with Arnie. Interestingly, Christine was the only King adaptation Carpenter ever directed. He was initially attached to helm the film version of Firestarter, but studio budget cuts, triggered by the box office failure of The Thing and other King-related films at the time, forced him to step away. Carpenter would later compose the eerie score for the 2022 Firestarter remake alongside his son Cody and Daniel Davies, but his directorial partnership with King ended after Christine. A polarizing reception, even from King himself. Despite its success at the box office, doubling its modest $9 million budget, Christine didn't ignite universal critical praise upon release. While audiences appreciated Carpenter's craftsmanship and eerie visuals, King himself was surprisingly unimpressed. He famously described Carpenter's version as one of only two adaptations of his work he found boring, the other being Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. King admitted that while he would have preferred an imperfect adaptation with energy, Christine felt too restrained. Still, fans have grown to appreciate Carpenter's minimalist approach. The unexplained nature of the car's possession, which King thought weakened the story, has since been seen by many as a strength, turning the film into a chilling metaphor for obsession, masculinity, and self-destruction. Why Christine still shines 4 decades later. As a coming-of-age horror tragedy, Christine has aged remarkably well. Keith Gordon's performance as Arnie stands out, transforming from meek and insecure to disturbingly confident under the car's sinister influence. The supporting cast, including veterans Harry Dean Stanton and Robert Prosky, lends the film an authenticity that grounds its supernatural premise. And, of course, there's Carpenter's iconic synth-driven score. Moody, pulsating, and unforgettable, it perfectly mirrors the growing menace of the car. In 2017, the soundtrack was reissued on vinyl and featured on Carpenter's anthology album, solidifying its legacy among his best musical works. Visually, Christine remains a practical effects marvel. Around 17 Plymouth Furies were used and destroyed during production to achieve the film's seamless self-repair sequences. One particularly memorable scene, filmed in reverse, shows the car seemingly healing itself, a practical effect so convincing it still impresses today. Could Christine rise again? With modern horror increasingly embracing nostalgia and practical effects, Christine feels ripe for rediscovery, or even a faithful remake. In 2021, Hannibal creator Brian Fuller announced he was developing a Christine reboot for Blumhouse, promising a version more faithful to King's original vision. The script has reportedly been sent to King, but updates have since gone quiet. Fuller is currently focused on his feature debut, Dust Bunny, starring Mads Mikkelsen, Sigourney Weaver, and David Dastmalchian, leaving the fate of his Christine uncertain. Still, whether or not the remake happens, revisiting Carpenter's Christine reveals a film far richer than its reputation suggests. It's a story about loneliness, identity, and the terrifying lengths we go to for power and belonging, all wrapped in gleaming chrome and gasoline. For decades later, Christine remains a haunting reminder that not all monsters wear fangs or wield knives. Some just wait in your garage, humming softly to the tune of your undoing.